Hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Pounds and Inches, a board game review series where we bring you a review every time one of us loses a pound or an inch.
All right, so I'm down another pound, down to 407, which since we name our episodes after our pounds and inches, this is episode 407.
And forever 157.
But you're trying, I know you are. All right, so today we unlocked Codenames as a result of doing a new review. So what do you get when you open the box of Codenames?
So in the box you get double-sided word cards, and what I mean by double-sided is just that. There's a word on this side of the card, and then there is a word on this side of the card. This word said car, which is why I said car. You get key cards, there are agent tile cards, and then there is a sand timer. So how do all of these pieces fit together to make a game?
All right, so the theme of the game is you've got two spymasters on this side of the table, on opposite sides of teams. One's on the blue, one's on the red. And then on the other side of the table, you've got all your field operatives. Essentially, it's your team. And on the board itself, you have a grid of all these words, a 5x5 grid, making 25 words. And they're all just random words. They represent code names, kind of following a spy theme. And what you're trying to do is you are going to give as the spy master, you're going to give a one-word clue that's going to tie some of these words together, and then a number that explains how many of those words on the grid tie into that clue. So you might say something like turkey, 3. And it could be something obvious you're talking about, like perhaps Thanksgiving, delicious, bird, whatever the situation might be. Or there could be some inside jokes between you and your team, something that ties that together, maybe a show that you guys watched or a previous experience that you guys have had. But really what the spy masters can see is these key cards. As you can see, there are red squares, blue squares representing the field operative, the code names for your team. There's also some tan spots which represent the innocent bystanders. And there is one assassin word as well in the middle, or somewhere on the tile as well. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find those links to those words without, using one of the other team's words, or especially the assassin words. So it can kind of get tricky having to come up with those words and still avoid, using something that might trigger your teammates to choose the assassin word or something like that. So now, on the other side of the table, the field operatives, they're going to hear your clue, turkey, 3. And they're going to look at the board, and they're going to try to figure out which words you're talking about. They're going to scan the whole thing. They're going to discuss amongst themselves which words they think are the right ones. And one at a time, they're going to simply just touch the word on the board. If they get it right, they keep on going until they've ran out of clues. If I said 3, you basically get to do one more than the number I said as the spy master. So that way, in a previous clue, if you had some leftover words that you didn't get, you get a chance to go back and get one of those. All right, now if you got it wrong, 3 things can happen. First off, if you get an innocent bystander, if nothing happens, you just simply cover up that word with the innocent bystander tile, and your turn is over. Next thing, if you were on the red team, for instance, and you said one of the blue team's words, as the field operatives, you guys selected that, they get credit. The blue team gets credit for it. You cover that up, and then you lose your turn, and then the blue team starts over again. And lastly, if you choose the assassin word, the game immediately ends, you lose, then the opposite team wins. So that's basically how you play. First team to cover up all of their words on their little grid wins the game.
So like Ryan said in the rules, your clue can be an inside joke. So that's one of the things that's really fun about this is I really like playing it with people I'm very familiar with, because you can give those really weird, obscure clues that the other people at the table might have no idea what you're talking about. There's a sister of mine that, I have a lot of sisters. There's a sister of mine that when we play this game, I almost think it's not fair to everybody else because we just are on a different wavelength and we understand what's happening, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that part of the game, and I also think it would be fun. I haven't brought it yet, but I should bring it to work to see if that same type of thing happens, of just knowing each other so well and knowing like life history together.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this game is being the spy master and just kind of using your brain and racking your brain to tie these 2 or 3 just really super random words together and giving a clue that's not going to trigger any of the other bad things that happen. You have to trigger together, I don't know, Egypt and parachute together and make a connection out of those. and but it's really fun and really tough, and I love being the spymaster. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I also like the limitation of the assassin in there. There's been times where, I mean, one of the best examples is let's say that you want to give the clue fruit, because there's a couple fruits out there, but your assassin is on the word like strawberry, so you just can't do that. And it's frustrating because you know you tie those words together, but then they might guess that word, and you don't want them to guess that word, and you don't know how else to put these together. And I really like that the limitation that the assassin gives. It makes you have to be, it's challenging, and it makes you think in different ways, and I really like that.
I like how replayable it is. I mean, you get a ton of cards. They're double-sided, so there's double cards essentially, and you could even theoretically use the same 25 words and just use a different key card. All the words then essentially have changed allegiances. Some of the words may be the same, some of them may be different. The assassin word's going to be different, so you can just do that, or you could flip them over and do another round that way, or you could even possibly just rotate one of these. Basically, got almost infinite replayability, it seems like.
Yeah, and along with that, whenever we get this game out, it gets played 2, 4, 6 times. I say those even numbers because we do flip them every single time
Right.
we play. But yeah, and I mean, so many of our games, we get it out, we play it, and then we play that one time, and then we put it back, and we don't see it for another 3, 4, 12 months. But this one, we get it out, and we get so many plays out of it that one time that we get it out. So that's really fantastic about this.
And one of the reasons we can do so many is because it's how fast it is. One round is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can trade out, who wants to be the spymaster. Oh, I want to be the spymaster next. Okay, cool. You switch out and another 15-minute game. You can do that as many times as you want. You can also play with unlimited amount of players, really. As long as you have one spymaster on each team. On the other side of the table, with the field operatives, you could have... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not boring you. You could have 1, 2, 5, 10 people over there. As long as everyone's communicating and involving each other in the discussions before they start touching words. That's the fun part. You don't want to exclude anybody, but you can really play with unlimited amount of people.
Yeah, so that's really fun. We do want to know a few maybe potential downsides about the game. One of them is we find that some people really do not like being the spymaster. What I found exciting of having to piece all those things together stresses some people out to the point where they don't really enjoy it. A really easy fix, they just don't have to be the spymaster. They just get a guess. Mm-hmm. And it's really fixed. But just wanted to point that out there, that there are some people that we've played with that it causes a little bit of anxiety and that they don't enjoy the game as much.
Yeah. Another thing to note is, as the spymaster, when you're looking at that strain, that grid of just really bizarre words that have nothing tying them together, at least at first glance, it might take, you have to glance at it and stare at it and figure out which words you could use, which words you couldn't use. Especially if you're kind of AP prone, analysis paralysis might kick in, and it might take you a minute to do that. That's very boring for the field operatives on both teams, really, to sit through that. And that's where the timer comes in. The opposite team, at any time they think you're taking too long on your turn, they can flip the timer on you and say, "All right, you've had a minute or two. Now you're on the clock now. You've got until that timer runs out to come up with a clue, or else game over. Not game over, but." We never actually use it that much, so I'm not sure what happens.
I use it all the time.
It never runs out, though. We always feel the pressure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I think your turn just ends. Maybe. We'll look it up later. That's a problem for the rules Nazis to figure out. Speaking of rules,
another thing that happens with this game, especially when we first teach it to people, is like Ryan said when we were explaining the rules, you get the one word and then the number, and that is it that you get to give for the clues. Some people like to try and stretch that in any way they can imagine with hyphenated words, with all sorts of weird words to try and put more words into this one word clue. And I mean, it's supposed to be a fun party game, so you don't want to really harsh down on rules. It's the rules that make it a fun game.
Right.
So there's that, like, I've seen it happen more than I wish it would happen. It's not the game's fault whatsoever, but that's just something we wanted to point out.
Yeah. All right, so Codenames, what do you think?
So Codenames, out of our entire collection, is by far my all-time favorite party game. I mean, it's an award winner, and I just love it. It We can play it over and over again. There's never been a crowd that hasn't liked it.
Yeah.
There's always, I don't know, it's just great. It's just great.
Yeah, I love the puzzling nature of it. I love the it's a word game, but it's not like a traditional word game where people might be turned off by not having a big vocabulary or whatever like that. There's always, you can play in whatever space you want to play it in, really. It's very accessible, and it's super fast, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Codenames, we give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in to another episode of Pounds and Inches. We look forward to doing another review soon, as soon as we lose another pound or an inch. Maybe, you never know. She's working hard.
I am trying. I really am.
It's much harder to lose an inch than it is a pound. But yeah, stay tuned for more. Feel free to subscribe to either our YouTube channel, Pounds and Inches, or our blog on Board Game Geek, also called Pounds and Inches. All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.